الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وموالاه. Subhanallah, we're done with our second rak'ah. We're getting up to the third rak'ah. This is our segment 5. قال الشيخ الألباني رحمه الله تعالى: ثم كان صلى الله عليه وسلم ينهض إلى الركعة الثالثة مكبرا وأمر به المسيء صلاته. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم: ثم اصنع ذلك في كل ركعة وسجدة. He صلى الله عليه وسلم used to get up after the middle tashahhud and get up to the third rak'ah saying Allahu Akbar. And this is what he instructed the person that made a mistake in his salah, al-musi'u salatu. ثم قال رحمه الله تعالى: كان صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا قام من القعدة كبر ثم قام. He will say Allahu Akbar, then he will get up. Now, subhanallah, one thing that we'll see in our demonstration in a minute, the way that the Prophet ﷺ would do his hands. So remember, this is very simple. He will raise his hands in the takbirah of ihram, the first takbirah. Then he will raise his hand when he goes for ruku'. Then he will raise his hand and going back from ruku'. He will not raise his hand going to sujood. When he gets up to the second rak'ah, what does he do? Does he raise his hand or not? No. Correct. No. He would not raise his hand. He will get up straight and he will grab. Okay? And then he will raise his hand for the ruku', raise his hand for getting up from the ruku', would not raise his hand for when he goes to sujood, tashahhud. Now when getting up to the third rak'ah, he will raise his hand again. So he will raise his hand for the takbirah to start the recitation only in the odd rak'at. Okay? Not in the even ones. First one and the third one. Okay? So this is to kind of sum it up, inshallah ta'ala. And he will do the same thing. After he will get up, what we covered earlier, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, he will say Al-Fatiha. Of course, in the first, let's say for example, he's praying Isha. In the second rak'ah, he will say Fatiha and a surah with it. In the fourth and the third and the fourth, he will say only Al-Fatiha, with the permissibility of saying something after the Fatiha, but you could just say Al-Fatiha by itself. Then he will, when he goes down to the sujood, of course the ruku' the same way that we covered, the sujood the same way that we covered. When he wants to get up from his sujood, remember, you're baking like baking bread. He will push with his hands to get back up to the fourth rak'ah. So this is all clear, we covered before. It brings us to number 2, the obligation of the last tashahhud. Of course, the last tashahhud is an obligation. He will do the tashahhud. And certain scholars will tell you that, depending on how much time you have, you in the first tashahhud, you do it without saying the salah on the Prophet ﷺ, without saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. But in the second in the second tashahhud, you have to say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, kama the salah al-Ibrahimiyya. قال ثم كان يجلس كان صلى الله عليه وسلم يجلس بعد أن يتم الركعة الرابعة يجلس للتشهد الأخير. After he finishes the fourth rak'ah, he will sit for the last tashahhud. And I'll stop here for a second because he will do a different way of sitting. The first one is, we call it al-iftirash. He will sit on his left leg, but there's the last one, we call it a tawarruk. He will sit on his left hip. It's called the tawarruk. So I need someone to demonstrate this one, al-iftirash versus the tawarruk. Abu Tariq, can you? You can. So al-iftirash in the second tashahhud is, but try, let me see, do you have the ideal is like that, but if you let your toes go as well, that is correct as well. So either or, that's called al-iftirash. And this is in the middle tashahhud. But in the last tashahhud, the ideal, if you really want to follow the sunnah, this is how you sit. This is how you sit. Incidentally, there are some brothers that know about this way of sitting, but they will do it in every situation. You only can sit this way in the end of Dhuhr, the end of Asr, the end of Maghrib, and the end of Isha. You cannot sit like this in Fajr, and you cannot sit like this at the end of any Salah that is voluntary. Okay? Just to sum it up for you. This is at the end of mandatory salawat, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Not Fajr, and not any salat of Nafila. Okay? This is how the Prophet ﷺ used to sit. And sitting like that is a sunnah. Meaning that if you're able to do it, that's fantastic. It will complete your salah even more. But if you're not able to do it physically, like for example, I have a lot of trouble. I try to do it sometimes, but it gives me a lot of pain doing it. But if you're young, mashallah, and healthy and flexible, all of that, you should do it that way. This is the way of the Prophet ﷺ. There's another way, Abu Talib, you left too quickly. The only one so far that I've seen able to do it is my son Hamza. Said the same with tawarruk, but instead of having your right go underneath, let it go over. Yeah, I can't see. Is he able to do it? Huh? No, let it go over that right foot. Yeah, on top of it. Yeah, he's gonna need someone that's a real Houdini.
I'm thinking the left one going over the right one.
Huh? Yeah, the left goes underneath and goes over the right one. This is one of the ways the Prophet ﷺ used to sit as well. So he will do it underneath and like that. That's it. This is also from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's not easy to do, but if you're able to do it, please, you get some more hasanat. Okay? Jazakallah khair. What's that? Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, at the end, the last tashahhud, you do it that way. I remember an incident with Sheikh Al-Albani shortly before he died. He would, because he used to live in Jordan.
This guy can do it, no problem.
MashaAllah, look at that. Look at our Indonesian brother, MashaAllah. He still got it. He still got it. The sailor still got it. MashaAllah, wonderful. Sheikh Al-Albani he used to live in Jordan, and he was in a faraway city, but he heard that one of his students did tawarruk in Fajr. So he took a bus and he traveled all the way to that city to see, on his own. He wanted to see by himself what the person he was doing. And sure enough, he found that this man was leading the salah and he was doing tawarruk. He said, when they said, why are you doing this? He said, yeah, Sheikh, because I'm in pain and this is the only way I can sit. So basically, which means that, subhanAllah, if you are in pain and it's the only way you can sit at the end of your tashahhud, then by all means do it, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. But if you are healthy and you're able to do it the way that the Prophet ﷺ did it, then this is the way that we should, inshaAllah Ta'ala. Number 3, the obligation of seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from 4 things after you tashahhud. After you say the different ad'iyah of tashahhud, you say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, then you say innaka hamidun majid. You have to say this dua. خرجه مسلم أبو عوانة والنسائي وغيرهم. كان صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا فرغ قال إذا فرغ أحدكم من التشهد الآخر, one of you finishes the last tashahhud, فليستعذ بالله من 4. Let him seek refuge in Allah from 4 things. يقول اللهم إني أعوذ بك من عذاب جهنم ومن عذاب القبر ومن فتنة المحيا والممات ومن شر فتنة المسيح الدجال. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from what? The adhab, the punishment of Jahannam, and the punishment of the grave, and the fitna, the trials and the tribulations, the turmoil of the life of this world and the tribulations of death, subhanallah, and the turmoil and the fitna of Al-Masih al-Dajjal. And incidentally, all of you know about Al-Masih al-Dajjal, the Antichrist, as he's called by Christians, and that's how they recognize him. The biggest fitna that will happen on the face of the earth before the end of days. The Prophet ﷺ warned us about him more than any prophet before him. So we should always seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from those four things. There are actually narrations that the scholars of Islam, they see their kids pray, they finish the salah, they say, did you seek refuge in Allah ta'ala from those four things? The son says, no, I did not. He said, go back and repeat the salah. He made him repeat the salah because he did not seek refuge in Allah ta'ala from those four things. Now, after you do this, the tashahhud is the second best and most important time to do dua. The first time is what? When you're doing sujood. Then the second time is when you are doing tashahhud. These are two great opportunities for you to do dua. So when you finish the tashahhud, you seek refuge in Allah in those four things, and you still have time, especially if you're behind the imam, then try to get in as many dua, as much supplication that you possibly can. And the best supplications are the ones that the Prophet ﷺ used to say, and there are many. SubhanAllah, this is the one that I told you, is you find it in Bukhari and Muslim. There's a narration by Nasa'i rahimahullah. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم إني أعوذ بك من شر ما عملت ومن شر ما لم أعمل بعد. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from the evil of what I did and the evil of what I haven't done yet. Subhanallah. وأخرى عند الحاكم ووافقه الإمام الذهبي رحمه الله تعالى قال صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يقول اللهم حاسبني حسابا يسيرا. Oh Allah, make my hisab, my reckoning easy. Oh Allah, make my reckoning easy. And then if your reckoning is easy with Allah, if your hisab is yasir, subhanAllah, you have made it, you have succeeded. If your hisab is asir, meaning that Allah Ta'ala will stop you and He will ask you about every single thing. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forgive us, and may He Subhanahu wa Ta'ala make our hisab yasir. And then there are many ad'iyah, supplications that the Prophet ﷺ did after the tashahhud. Again, subhanAllah, I don't have to repeat it again. If you want to have a variety in your dua, inshallah ta'ala, I will be glad, inshallah ta'ala, to forward this information to you. At-taslim, number 5. ثم كان صلى الله عليه وسلم يسلم عن يمينه يقول السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. He will do taslim on his right. He will say السلام عليكم ورحمة الله حتى يرى بياض خده الأيمن, until people see the whiteness of his right cheek. وعن يساره السلام عليكم ورحمة الله حتى يرى بياض خده الأيسر, until the whiteness of his left cheek was seen. So he will turn completely and say السلام عليكم. And subhanAllah, when you do so, you are saying salam to many people. You're saying the salam to, if you're imam, to the people that are behind you. You're saying salam to the angels of Allah Ta'ala that are recording your deeds. So all of that, subhanAllah, just in saying salam alaikum, again, you are getting a lot of hasanat. We should do it the right way. He added in another narration of Ibn Dawood and Ibn Khuzaymah, كان يزيد صلى الله عليه وسلم أحيانا يقول وبركاته, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And sometimes he would make what he said on the right side more than what he said in the left side. For example, he would say السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Or he would say السلام عليكم ورحمة الله, السلام عليكم. Okay? And by the way, the first taslim is the one that is mandatory. The second one, the one on the left, is a sunnah. So the minute you say salamu alaikum, salah is over. You can actually say salamu alaikum once and stop. The Prophet ﷺ did that as well. But you can continue. That answers a question Zakaria asked me. Where's Zakaria? Zakaria. Are you taking a nap, man? He said, some people, as soon as the Imam says Salaam Alaikum, they say Salaam Alaikum. Yeah, based on the fact that the first Salam is the one that is mandatory, that you can do both. You can do either as soon as the Imam says Salaam Alaikum, you start saying Salaam Alaikum right after him, or you can wait and say Salaam Alaikum after he finishes. Both, they are both correct, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So,
how about if we make a salam and then we forgot this short one rak'ah? There's a void salah.
If you said salam and you've
forgot, we are supposed to do one more rak'ah.
No, you get up. You get up and you pray another rak'ah. You get up and pray another rak'ah, and you do the sujood of heedlessness, of sahu. Since you asked the question, anybody has a question, because we don't, that's the time subhanAllah, the time that we have is almost expired, but I came close to covering, alhamdulillah, the majority of the things. What I could tell you, I want to just give you a list real quick of the pillars of the salah and the wajibat of the salah, so you know the difference real quick. The pillars, the arkan of the salah: number one, the qiyam, standing as much as you can. If you cannot, then subhanAllah, you can sit and you cannot, you can lay on your side. Number two, the takbirah fil ihram. It is a pillar. Qira'atul Fatiha, reading the Fatiha. Ruku' is a pillar. Getting up from the ruku' is a pillar. Sujood is a pillar. Sujood on the 7 places that I told you about. Al-i'tidalu min as-sujood, sitting up from the sujood, is a pillar. The sitting between the 2 sajdat is also a pillar. At-tashahhud al-akhir, the last tashahhud, is a pillar. Al-julusu lahu, sitting there, sitting for it, is also a pillar. And then salat on the Prophet ﷺ, doing the salat on the Nabi ﷺ after the tashahhud is also a pillar. The taslima is a pillar. And of course, having tuma'nina, having serenity in all of the arkan, all of the other pillars is also one of them. And another pillar is the tartib, the proper order. So these are 14 for you. Now, the rukn, the pillar, it will nullify your salah if you neglect it, if you don't do it out of heedlessness, or if you do it deliberately. Either or, your salah is batila until you come back and you do it. But subhanAllah, when it comes to al-wajib, the wajibat in the salah, I'll tell you what they are. All of the takbirat, all of saying Allahu Akbar to move from one face to another, that's from the wajibat. To say Subhana Rabbi al-Azim in ruku' is a wajib. So to say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, of course, for the imam is a wajib. To say Rabbana laka alhamdu wa laka alhamd is a wajib. To say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la in sujood is a wajib. To say Allahumma ghfirli, that dua between the 2 sajdat, is a wajib. And the first tashahhud, remember I told you the last tashahhud is a pillar, but the middle tashahhud is a wajib. It's lesser in gravity. And sitting for the first tashahhud is also a wajib. Now the difference is that a wajib, remember I told you, the pillar, if you don't do it, if you don't do it out of forgetfulness, or you don't do it deliberately, it will nullify the salah until you do it. But the wajib, if you don't do it out of forgetfulness, it will not nullify your salah. And you can only do the 2 sajdah at the end, and that will take care of it. But if the wajib will nullify your salah, if you don't do it deliberately, you decide not to do it. I don't want to do this part. I don't want to say Allahu Akbar when I'm moving from one sajda to, or from standing to ruku'. You deliberately decide not to do it, then it will nullify your salah. And I need to cover this one. It's very important, because I see some brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum, and they start doing things to themselves. like when you do ruqya to yourself. And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ did, but not after the salah. The Prophet ﷺ told us to do ruqya in other times, especially when you go to sleep. You say that in mu'awwidat in your hand, you blow them in your hand, and then you touch yourself in different places for Allah Ta'ala to protect you. But this is not something that he did after the salah. The salah, what do you do after the salah? That, right there. You get yourself busy with the adhkar, and you don't raise your hand to do any dua, you do the adhkar. When you finish all of the adhkar, remember I told you, the dua in sujood and in tashahhud, these are the places for your dua. So do a lot of dua in those, and then after the salah, you do your adhkar, and they're right there. Also, anyone that wants to have them in writing, I can forward them to you. But this is what our Prophet ﷺ used to do. He will sit for a while and do as much of these adhkar as he possibly could, and he will do all of them, and then some. This is what we're supposed to do the adhkar after the salah, and after you finish all of the adhkar, you will do some dua, then you're free to do so. But عقب الصلاة هو وقت الذكر. It is a time for the adhkar that the Prophet ﷺ used to do. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت ذا الجلال والإكرام لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك والحمد وعلى كل شيء قدير, etc. Alhamdulillah. That's why most masajid will have those there for the ones that are not aware of them, to also learn them. Once you read them over and over, you'll be able to memorize them. And this is why we're working on the Arabic language, right, Todd? This is one of the reasons, subhanAllah, read the Quran, be able to read the adhkar, and subhanAllah, this is how we collect as many hasanat as you possibly can. So the Prophet ﷺ used to do these adhkar, and then some more after them. And then, like I said, according to the scholars, after you finish this adhkar, then if you want to do some more dua, you're free to do so, or if you want to do sunnah. But this is what our Prophet ﷺ, there are countless narrations that support this, but unfortunately, the time for the adhan is about now. But subhanAllah, what we should retain from this is the fact that, subhanAllah, this is our ibadah, this is our worship. We should approach it in a completely different way, regardless of what we learned from our ancestors, what our fathers and forefathers said. You have to understand, and this is the scholars talk about this a lot. They say that half of the bid'ah, the innovation, half of the kufr, half of the shirk that you find on the face of the earth is based on the sunnah, the way of the fathers and the forefathers. Every time the Quran tells you, when a prophet comes to a people and they refuse to follow, what's their excuse? هَذَا مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا. This is what we found our fathers and forefathers doing, and we'll continue doing the same thing, subhanAllah. So, the effect that a father has on a child is tremendous. We should take advantage of that, the particular concept, to teach our kids the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, because they will carry it with them, they will have it with them all of their lives. And subhanAllah, I told you in yesterday's lecture, I think, that subhanAllah, that the effects of the father is so tremendous that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in talking about one of the most, or the most, maybe the most beneficial of the pillars of Islam, the one that can possibly erase all of your sins if you do it right, which one is that? The zakah? Which one? The hajj. When you do, in talking about the rituals of Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا قَضَيْتُم مَنَاسِكَكُمْ فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَذِكْرِكُمْ آبَاءَكُمْ أَوْ أَشَدَّ ذِكْرًا. If you finish all of your rituals of Hajj, then mention Allah as you would mention your fathers and forefathers, or even more. It shows you how tremendous the effect of the father on the psyche of an offspring. So subhanAllah, let's use this for the ones of us that have kids, and to teach the right things, to teach the tawheed and teach the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. I will cover real quick the correct attire of the salah. For men, What you're wearing should be covering all of your awrah. And the awrah of men is from your belly button to your knees. So if you come with the pants that are, or shorts that are showing your knees, that's a no-no. Your awrah is showing, your salah is null and void. It should not be transparent and shows anything from your awrah. It should not be tight. That subhanAllah makes, when you do ruku and do sujood, subhanAllah, the appearance of your private area becomes, subhanAllah, becomes clear. Number 4, they should not wear anything that resembles what the women wear. And then subhanAllah, that you should not wear something that resembles what the non-Muslims wear, and not just regular clothes, but other religions, what our other religions are known for. You cannot wear that to the salah. And you cannot be wearing silk, subhanAllah, because silk is not permissible for men of this ummah. And subhanAllah, it should not be a clothes of fame. I mean, that things that show brands plastered really strong on, like, Guess and I'm going to start making commercials for these people. But these name brands, and also the teams, and especially, you'll find people that come with the jersey of AC Milan or Barcelona, and I mentioned those two specifically because they have crosses on them. So basically, you're carrying the cross on your jersey, and you come to the salah, and it's not right, subhanAllah. So, and of course, a man should not be showing his shoulders when he's praying, because that will nullify his salah as well. As far as the women, the sisters are concerned, number 1, the clothes should be longer than the ankles, Number 2, they should not be transparent. Number 3, it should be really wide, that it hides the curves as much as possible. Number 4, then of course, should not be the opposite of what I said, something that's very tight, that subhanAllah, a person can tell the size and can tell the weight and all of that. This subhanAllah, this kind of information belongs to the husband. Nobody should be able to have this kind of private information. Number 5, the socks. The sisters have to wear socks, because the woman is awrah, the awrah of the man is from the belly button to the knees. The awrah of the woman is from head to toe. Head to toe is a awrah. So the women, subhanAllah, the scholars talked about this extensively, that if any part of the awrah is showing, the salah is automatically null and void. So therefore, if the sister does not have her feet covered by socks or anything like that, then automatically that's her awrah. Part of her awrah is showing, and then that makes her salah null and void. And number 6, the sisters, the women, should not do or wear anything that makes them resemble men in their salah, because that will nullify their salawat. I really wanted to go over some of the mistakes of wudu, but unfortunately we're out of time. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit you and I from that which we heard, and we ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the ones that follow the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, the last thing before we do the adhan, I would like someone to demonstrate everything that I talked about. Abu Tariq, are you up for the task?
What?
Demonstrate from beginning to end. We're going to demonstrate 4 rak'ahs of a regular salah of the Prophet ﷺ from beginning to end, based on all the things that we covered in the last 6 hours. Or was it 4 hours? No, 6 hours. Okay. Yalla, we do takbirat al-ihram.
Before adhan or before adhan? Before adhan.
Yeah, let's do it before adhan, and then we'll wrap up, inshallah ta'ala. So, takbirat al-ihram, Allahu Akbar. Face all of your body straight to the qibla. Your toes, everything faces the qibla. Okay? Straight. Okay. Allahu Akbar. Again, like I told you guys. So we have the bottom of your hand towards parallel with your shoulders. The tip of your fingers by the earlobes, the bottom of the earlobes. You're not touching your ears. Okay? We covered that and we give you the proof. Okay, Allahu Akbar. Then you grab by your chest. Let's say your chest. So this is you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Fatiha as slowly as possible, ayah by ayah, right? And then when you finish Fatiha, you say Ameen. If you're leading the Salah, you say Ameen out loud, and everyone behind you says Ameen as well. And then you say it right after the Imam, meaning that when the Imam says, right when you hear you say Ameen. The Prophet ﷺ said if your ta'meen coincides with the ta'meen of al-malaika, the angels, Allah will forgive all of your sins. Please do not forget this one. Always try to do it. Imagine you have that just one salah a day. This happens, Allah will forgive all of your sins. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all of our sins. So after you finish the recitation, you say the Fatiha and the Surah, Allahu Akbar, the Takbirat Ihram the same way, as much as you can. Do it the same way, as much as you possibly can, with the space that you have, the same way. Allahu Akbar, ruku', your back is straight. This is too much. Make it straight. Yeah, like that. Straight. If you put a glass of water on it, it should not be spilled. That's how straight it should be. And then your head aligned with your back as much as possible. Of course, as much as you can possibly handle, because people have injuries and sometimes they cannot do all of that. So ruku', Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, 3 times at least, or some of the other ad'iyah that the Prophet did. Sami Allahu liman hamida, same thing. Sami Allahu liman hamida, the same way. Rabbana wa lakal hamd, or Rabbana lakal hamd. حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا يرضى, or many of the others that the Prophet ﷺ used to say. Like I said, difference of opinion between the scholars. Either you straight, you leave it straight, and or you grab. Both of them have their proofs, and we could follow either way, the one that you feel comfortable with in this particular one.
We lean to this one.
Personally, I lean towards this one because Shaykh al-Albani has strong opinions. His reasoning and his proofs are stronger. So I personally lean towards that one. So, Allahu Akbar, how do you go down? Yes. The Prophet ﷺ, according to the narrations that I gave you, you go with your hands first. You go with your hands first. And you open them, especially if you're Imam and you have the space, open them as much as possible. The Prophet ﷺ used to exaggerate in opening his hands, so much so that if it's a small animal, they would be able to cross right underneath him between his hands. SubhanAllah. Allahu Akbar. The first sujood, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, 3 times, and make as much supplication as you possibly can. Subhanallah. And la tansa taras, try to, even your heels, there should be, if you remember the narration of Aisha radiallahu anha, فَرَأَيْتُهُ سَاجِدًا رَاصًا عَقِبَيْهِ. The aqibayn, the heels were together. And in order to do that, another narration says that he used to open his toes. So the only way that you can actually put your aqibayn, the heels together, is by opening your toes. So this is the first rak'ah. Allahu Akbar. Get up from the first rak'ah. Sit. Exactly. You put your left leg underneath you and the other one is outside. And if you can you have your fingers تنصب أصابع القدمين, it's good. And if you cannot, you do it that way, it's also correct. The Prophet ﷺ did both. So this is the first getting up from the first sujood. And then you do the dua, رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَارْحَمْنِي وَعَافِنِي وَاجْبُرْنِي, the dua that I gave you. Then Allahu Akbar. And by the way, I see some brothers, they do like an extra movement with their hand, no, just go straight, normal. Subhanallah, let it flow until you do your second sujood the way that you did your first sujood. Now you get up to the second rak'ah, Allahu Akbar. No, Jazakallah, thanks for doing that, because that's a mistake. What do we cover? You sit. You sit with your exactly. You sit the way that you sat in the middle one. You sit properly and you sit. Then you push, either with your hands open, or remember, العجن كان يعجن الأرض. He was to do like he's baking, and he would push on the ground and he will get up. Allahu Akbar, second rak'ah. Same thing. we covered earlier. According to some scholars, some others say the isti'adah that you did at the beginning is enough. You just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and you go. Do the Fatiha, do the Rak'ah, the Fatiha. Of course, if you're leading and it's out loud, you say Ameen at the end of Al-Fatiha and everyone says Ameen behind you. And then you say another surah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Then go to the second ruku'. Second ruku' the same way. Exactly. As straight as you can, and you grab your knees as the Prophet ﷺ used to do. They open, so the more you open them, the more you can grab. And then, Sami Allahu liman hamida. Please, if I forget something, just stop me. All of you know the material by now. If I forget something, stop me. Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana lakal hamd. Same thing. You go to your sujood. Allahu Akbar, your hands first. The same way. Put your feet together and then put your heels together. Open as much as possible. See? You open as much as... Now, if you're praying in the line and you're a ma'moom, then subhanAllah, take the space that you have without disturbing the person next to you. So you have to be mindful to the people next to you. But if you're imam or you're praying by yourself, you open up as much as possible. SubhanAllah. So, Allahu Akbar. Then again, they said the same way. Rabbi ighfirli warhamni wa'afini. Make sure you do the dua in the middle. And then Allahu Akbar. That's the other sajda. Then, subhanAllah, the same thing, subhana rabbi al-a'la 3 times. You sit down for your first tashahhud. Okay, now, the right hand, the left hand, right there, that position. The right hand, what are you going to do? Either you do like you're going to punch, and you point with the index finger towards the qibla, and you shake. There's another narration that the Prophet ﷺ used to do like this. You halliq, you do a halaqa between the thumb and the middle finger like this, and he will point to the qibla and he will shake. He will shake the whole time, subhanAllah. So you shake it towards the qibla and you're shaking it because you are hurting the shaitan physically, as the Prophet says. Ashaddu min al-hadid. It's harder on the shaitan than the hadid. The longer you do that, the better. And do it the whole time from beginning to end. Then you're going to get up for the third rak'ah. Exactly. Push, either with hands open or closed, and then I don't know, there's something that you did there. Do it again. Do it again. Okay? Now push and get up. No, don't do that. There's a hadith that says you should not do that. Say, good. Jazakallah khair. There are people that when they do the tashahhud, they do like a little movement here with their hands like, okay, it's done. Don't do that. The Prophet ﷺ specifically said, do not be doing this with your hands. And he said that you're doing your hands like the tails of the horses of Najd. And the horses of Najd were of the best quality. They had beautiful tails. They will do this. So he said not to do that like these horses. So your hands stay like that. Finish the shahud, put it back, and then get up. Push and get up. Okay. So this is what rak'ah is this? The third rak'ah. Okay, good. So, yes. Remember, when we got up to the second rak'ah, we didn't do this. The even rak'ah, we did not do this. We get up to the odd rak'ah number 3, we do this. Okay, Allahu Akbar. Okay, same thing, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, etc. You can do just the Fatiha by itself. That will suffice. Allahu Akbar, ruku'.
You'll get punished if you add something.
Yeah, Allahu Akbar. And the same way. Sami Allahu liman hamida. And then sujood, all of that standard the same way that we covered. Go down on your hands first. Allahu Akbar. Okay? And Allahu Akbar. You sit in between, you do your dua. And then so you can sit and give it time. Don't rush. And then Allahu Akbar, another sujood. Okay? And then Allahu Akbar, getting up to the 4th rak'ah. How do you get up? You sit. There you go, sit. Relax. Take a cup of Java, take a mochaccino, relax. It's all about tuma'nina. Be relaxed. So sit with your left leg underneath. Yeah, sit. Then you push on. You do your baking, ta'jin, and then you get up. You get up to the 4th rak'ah. Exactly. Directly to grabbing. You don't do with your hands like that. Okay? So your Fatiha, Allahu Akbar, ruku'. Then Sami Allahu liman hamida. Of course, you should not do it as quickly as this, but we have an adhan to do. Allahu Akbar, then sujood. This is your last two sajdat. Allahu Akbar, then you're exactly. So you sit the same way that you've been sitting with the others. Another sajda, Allahu Akbar. And then your last tashahhud, you sit with a tawarruk, as I told you before. You do your tawarruk either this way or the other way with your foot over. That one is a little more difficult, but if you can do it, subhanAllah, the more you do, the more hasanat you get, the more blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you do. Again, punch, point towards the qibla and shake. You'll be hurting the shaitan, your enemy, and the enemy of all of the sons of Adam. And then, oh yeah, Jazakallah khair. In the middle tashahhud. And this tashahhud, where should you be looking? Todd, do you know? You should be looking at your finger while it's moving. Don't be looking at the place of your sujood like you do with the rest of them. Remember I told you, the Prophet ﷺ would be looking at the place of sujood the whole time. But in the tashahhud, you are looking at your finger as it is moving. Subhanallah. You'll be looking at your finger as it is moving. Then after you do the tashahhud, you say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, innaka hamidun majid. You do isti'adah, you seek refuge in Allah from those four things that we mentioned. Do as much dua as you possibly can. Then you say, don't do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. I said, because it's not just something that the Prophet didn't do. It is something that the Prophet forbade us from doing. Do not raise your hands like that. When you finish, do not raise your hands like that. Some people do it with one hand, some people do it with two of them. Do not do it. So it's finish, that's it. Finish, put down, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Then like I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Or Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum. And if you do Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah once, that suffices as well. Because this salam on the right, that's the pillar, and the salam on the left is a wajib, or some scholars said it's a sunnah, but the one on the right is the one that stops the salah. The tahleel of the salah, that subhanAllah, your status becomes halal. You can talk, you can do other things that you were not able to do in the salah. So I'm hoping inshallah ta'ala that everyone that was here benefited. And subhanAllah, especially that we were able to do a demonstration. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward our brother for giving us this demonstration, that because this whole program is the description of the prophetic salah from the takbir to taslim, as if you were looking at it. That's the title of the book that we summarized today. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the ones that establish the salah truly and do it the way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm being signaled that there's a question. What is the question?
When you say salam alaikum,
Yeah.
how early can the others say it?
How loud?
How early?
How early? Well, I mentioned that earlier, but because the first taslima is the one that suffices, then you can do either way. You can do, as soon as the Imam says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you say Assalamu alaikum right after him, or you wait until he does both, then you do both. They're both correct, and Allah subhanahu, either way is good, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless everyone that was here. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you and I from the ones that when they hear the speech, they follow the best of it. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والحمد لله رب العالمين. We will have a quiz after the salah. We'll distribute inshallah those papers. Fill them at as much as you can inshallah ta'ala, and then we will have the results, maybe since we were a little bit late, the results after there's dinner, right? Dinner is going to be after Maghrib, maybe after dinner before Isha. We'll spend a few minutes doing the quizzes, or after Isha if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.